A wide-angle shot captures a tender, emotional moment at dusk in a quiet Seattle park, bathed in soft golden light filtering through tall, evergreen trees. Two young men, both in their mid-20s, stand close together near a serene lake. The first, a black man with a warm smile, short locks, and a casual denim jacket, gazes softly at the second, a Latino man with intense dark eyes, tousled hair, and a leather jacket, who looks back with a mix of longing and hesitation. Their hands brush lightly, fingers almost entwining, as if caught in a fleeting, forbidden moment. In the foreground, a weathered wooden bench bears a carved inscription in elegant script, a love that dares to fight. The text feels organic, blending into the scene without disrupting the composition, drawing viewers into their story. The atmosphere is intimate yet tense, hinting at unspoken secrets and deep emotion. Obsessed with my stepbrother, I tried to leave, but his chilling warning cornered me into silence. The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the streetlights, reflecting my racing heart as I sprinted through the night. My name is Jamal Carter, and I was running from the one person I couldn't escape, my stepbrother, Diego Morales. How do you outrun a love that's both your salvation and your cage? It started 2 years ago, when my mom married Diego's dad, blending our lives in a cramped craftsman house in Capitol Hill. I was 23, fresh out of college, piecing together a life as a graphic designer. Diego, 24, was a barista with dreams of opening his own coffee shop, his charm as bold as the espresso he brewed. We were strangers thrown together, but the moment our eyes met, something sparked, dangerous, undeniable, wrong. What makes a forbidden attraction so intoxicating? Is it the thrill of crossing lines, or the fear of being caught? For me, it was Diego's laugh, sharp and warm, cutting through the chaos of our new family. He'd tease me about my sketchbooks, sneaking glances at my drawings, his fingers lingering too long when he handed me a pencil. I told myself it was nothing, just stepbrothers finding common ground. But every touch, every shared glance, felt like a secret we were both too scared to name. Our parents were oblivious, caught up in their own honeymoon phase. Mom would gush about Diego's dad, Luis, while Diego and I orbited each other in the house, our silences heavy with meaning. One night, after a family dinner, we ended up alone in the backyard, the air thick with summer heat. You ever feel like you're hiding who you are? Diego asked, his voice low, his dark eyes searching mine. I froze. What did he see in me that I wasn't ready to admit? That question haunted me as weeks turned into months. Diego's presence became a pulse I couldn't ignore. His morning workouts in the garage, shirtless and focused, the way he'd hum old salsa tunes while cooking. I started sketching him in secret, capturing the curve of his jaw, the intensity in his gaze. Each drawing felt like a confession, one I buried in my sketchbook. But Diego noticed. He always noticed. One evening, I found him flipping through my sketches. "You're obsessed, Jamal," he said, half smiling, half daring. My heart stopped. Was he mocking me? Or was he admitting something too? Before I could respond, he stepped closer, his breath warm against my cheek. "You think I don't feel it too?" he whispered. That was the moment everything changed, the moment I knew we were both falling into something we couldn't control. What happens when desire overrides reason? We started stealing moments, late-night talks in his room, our voices hushed to avoid waking our parents, stolen glances at family game nights that felt like betrayals. But the more we gave in, the more dangerous it became. Diego's dad was traditional, vocal about his views on family values. If he found out, it wouldn't just break our family, it would shatter it. I tried to pull back, to focus on my freelance gigs, to date other guys. But every date felt hollow, every touch a shadow of Diego's. He was in my blood, and no amount of distance could change that. Then came the night that broke me. We were alone in the house, the rain pounding outside, when Diego kissed me. It wasn't gentle, it was desperate, like he'd been holding back as long as I had. "We can't keep doing this," I gasped, pulling away. But his eyes, wild and pleading, held me captive. "Then why does it feel so right?" he countered. That kiss was a line we couldn't uncross. Guilt gnawed at me, but so did want. How do you choose between what you feel and what you know is right? I started planning my escape, maybe a job in Portland, a fresh start. But Diego sensed it. One night, as I packed my portfolio, he cornered me in my room. His voice was low, chilling. "You think you can just leave, Jamal? You think I'll let you walk away from this?" What did he mean? Was it a threat or something deeper? His words echoed in my mind, a warning that silenced my plans. I was trapped, not just by him, but by the truth of what we were to each other. What does fear do to love? Does it sharpen it or shatter it? Diego's warning wasn't just words. It was a chain, binding me to a truth I wasn't ready to face. The days after his threat were a blur of tension. I avoided him, sticking to my room, burying myself in work. But Diego was everywhere, his cologne lingering in the hallway, his laugh drifting from the kitchen. I couldn't escape the pull, no matter how hard I tried. Why does the heart cling to what hurts it most? I started noticing things about Diego I hadn't before. The way his smile faltered when his dad mentioned normal relationships. The late-night calls he'd take in the garage, his voice hushed, angry. Who was he talking to? What secrets was he keeping? I wanted to ask, but fear kept me silent. His warning wasn't just about me leaving. It was about control, about keeping our secret locked tight. One afternoon, I found a note slipped under my door. "Meet me at Green Lake. Midnight. We need to talk." No signature, but I knew it was Diego. My stomach churned. Was this a chance to end things, or a step deeper into the abyss? I went, because even in fear, I couldn't say no to him. The park was quiet, the lake reflecting the city's glow. Diego stood by the water, his silhouette sharp against the moonlight. "You're pulling away," he said, not looking at me. I can feel it. His voice was raw, like he'd been carrying the same weight I had. I wanted to scream that I was trying to protect us, to save our family from imploding. But instead, I asked, "What are you so afraid of, Diego?" He turned, his eyes blazing. "You think I want this? To feel this way about you?" He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "But I can't stop, Jamal. And neither can you." His words were a mirror, reflecting my own obsession. We stood there, inches apart, the air electric with everything we couldn't say. Then he kissed me again, softer this time, but no less desperate. How do you fight a love that feels like fate? We started meeting in secret, parks, empty coffee shops, anywhere our parents wouldn't find us. Each moment was stolen, each touch a risk. But the more we hid, the more reckless we became. One night, at a dive bar in Fremont, a stranger saw us holding hands under the table. His sneer cut through me, a reminder of the world waiting to judge us. Diego didn't flinch, but I saw the fear in his eyes. What happens when the world sees what you fought to hide? Back home, the tension grew. Luis started asking questions. Why I was out so late? Why Diego was distracted? Mom noticed too, her worried glances cutting deeper than words. I wanted to tell her, to confess everything, but the thought of her disappointment stopped me. Diego, though, was unraveling. His late-night calls grew more frequent, his temper shorter. One night, I overheard him in the garage, his voice sharp. "You don't get to tell me what to do anymore." Who was he fighting with? And why did it feel like it was about me? I started digging, checking his phone when he wasn't looking. There were texts, vague, threatening, from someone named C. "Don't ruin this, Diego. You know what's at stake." My heart sank. Was Diego hiding more than our relationship? Was someone else pulling the strings? I confronted him, demanding answers, but he shut down. "You don't understand, Jamal," he said, his voice cold. Some things are bigger than us. What did that mean? Was it about his dad's expectations or something darker? I felt like I was drowning, caught between love and suspicion. I needed to know the truth, but every step closer to Diego felt like a step toward danger. I started following Diego, desperate for answers. One night, I trailed him to a warehouse in Soto, the industrial district's shadows swallowing the streetlights. He met a man, older, sharp-eyed, with a voice that carried menace even from a distance. I couldn't hear much, but I caught deal and keep him quiet. My blood ran cold. Was Diego caught in something criminal? And was I the one he was supposed to silence? Back home, I confronted him. "Who's C?" I demanded, holding up his phone. His face paled, but he didn't deny it. "You don't want to know, Jamal," he said, his voice breaking. "Just trust me." But how could I? The man I loved was slipping away, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Yet, when he pulled me close, whispering apologies, I melted into him. Why does love make us forgive what we should fear? We tried to hold on, meeting in secret, pretending we could outrun the truth. But the cracks were spreading. Luis caught us once, coming home early, our laughter too loud in the living room. He didn't say anything, but his eyes narrowed, and I felt the weight of his suspicion. Mom started asking if I was okay, her voice soft but probing. I lied, but each lie felt like a betrayal, not just to her, but to myself. Then came the night that changed everything. Diego got a call, his face draining of color. "Stay here," he told me, grabbing his jacket. But I followed, driven by a need to know. He went back to the warehouse, and this time, I got closer. The same man was there, handing Diego an envelope. "This is the last time," Diego said, his voice firm. The man laughed, cold and cruel. "You don't get to walk away, kid. Not with what you know." I didn't understand, but fear gripped me. Was Diego in over his head? Was this about money, or something worse? I slipped away before they saw me, but Diego knew. When he came home, he found me in my room, my sketchbook open to a drawing of him. Angry, haunted. "You followed me," he said, not a question. I nodded, tears burning my eyes. "What are you doing, Diego? What are you hiding?" He sank onto my bed, head in his hands. "It's not what you think," he said. "C is someone from my past. Before you. Before this family." He told me fragments, a debt, a mistake, a life he'd tried to leave behind. But he wouldn't say more, and his silence cut deeper than any truth. How do you love someone who's only half yours? I decided to leave. Not just Diego, but Seattle. I applied for a job in Chicago, a chance to start over. But when I told Diego, his reaction wasn't what I expected. No anger, no threats, just quiet devastation. "If you go," he said, "they'll come for you too." Who were they? And why did his fear feel more real than his love? What's the cost of freedom when love is the price? I stood at a crossroads, torn between escaping Diego's world and staying for the man I couldn't let go. But some truths demand to be faced, no matter how much they hurt. I didn't leave for Chicago. Not yet. Instead, I dug deeper, determined to uncover Diego's secrets. I hacked into his email, something I'm not proud of, and found messages from C, threatening exposure, demanding loyalty. They weren't just about Diego, they mentioned me. "Keep your stepbrother in line, or he'll pay." My heart stopped. This wasn't just Diego's past, it was our present, our future. I confronted Diego one last time, in the park where we'd shared our first real moment. "Tell me everything," I demanded, "or I'm gone." For the first time, he broke. He told me about C. Carlos, a man he'd worked for in his teens, running errands that turned out to be more than they seemed. Diego had tried to leave, but Carlos held leverage, proof of Diego's involvement in something illegal. Now, Carlos was using me to keep Diego in line. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice shaking. Diego's eyes were wet, his voice barely a whisper. "Because I love you, Jamal. and I'd rather die than let him hurt you. In that moment, I saw him. Not the secrets, not the threats, but the man who'd risked everything for me. How do you walk away from that? We made a plan. Diego would meet Carlos, pretend to comply, while I gathered evidence to turn him in. It was risky, but it was our only way out. The night of the meeting, I waited in the shadows, my phone recording. Carlos was there, smug, unaware. But Diego was different, calm, resolute. I'm done, he told Carlos. You don't own me anymore. Carlos laughed, but Diego didn't flinch. He handed over the envelope, empty, and walked away. I sent the recording to the police, anonymously. Days later, Carlos was arrested, his operation exposed. Diego and I were free, but the cost was heavy. Our parents found out, not about Carlos, but about us. Luis was furious, Mom heartbroken. We moved out, renting a tiny apartment in Belltown, starting over together. It wasn't easy. The world judged us, and some days, we judged ourselves. But every morning, waking up next to Diego, I knew we'd made the right choice. Love isn't perfect. It's messy, painful, real. And ours was worth fighting for. What does it mean to choose love over fear? For us, it meant building a life where we could be ourselves, no matter the odds. We're still learning, still healing, but together, we're unstoppable.